So today, my latest RR Circuits order came in, and the reason why, the thing I'm most excited about will seem kind of strange to you guys, maybe, and that is this LCC PowerPoint. The reason why this is important is that it provides power to the LCC network, or the CAB bus. And you might be wondering, well, if I didn't have one of these before, how did I run this stuff? Well, I was running it off of my LCC to the LocoNet gateway, which is great, but this needs to be plugged into the computer for the programming aspect. And that means that I had a 15-foot Ethernet cable strung across the floor. And so that's kind of annoying. Every time I wanted it to run, even if I wasn't programming the thing. So getting this means that I can permanently affix one of these under the lat, which I always had plans to do anyway. And then I don't have to plug in that Ethernet cable every time I just want to run trains. But you also might be wondering, why do I need two? Well, eventually the LCC bus will be demanding enough, it'll have enough components on it, that having two is a really good idea. So at like $29.95 retail, it's not really a bad thing. Now, I'm gonna put it over here and put it up here on the backboard of the top, the middle deck here, and currently the top deck, but the reason why I'm putting it there is because the plug-in for layout accessories, the main one anyway, is directly below this, so that when I flip on the layout accessory light switch on the wall, it'll turn on the LCC as well as the 12-volt bus that powers up other accessories. So in a minute here, you guys get to watch me drill a couple of holes. I know that's super exciting. Let's get it done. Okay, so got the unit, got my pencil, just gonna drill or mark a couple of holes up here for the thing. And it really doesn't matter exactly where, although as I think about it, I've got both of the LCC plugs on one side of it. Let's see, if I put it up there, no, that's going to cause a bunch of strain relief. And if I put it down there, it'll cause the cables to loop into the area where the backdrop will be, and I don't like that. So I think I'm going to stick with it like this, and then I'll just have to deal with having a loop of Ethernet cable, or a, you know, backing up on itself right there, which is not my favorite, but maybe I should email them and suggest to make one of these with a port on each side. Anyway, let's make some holes. I don't think this bit's too big for this job. Actually, yeah, it is. All right, hang on a second. Okay. Just marred the wall back there. Well, there's going to be a backdrop in front of that one of these days, I hope. You never know when or how long it's actually going to take stuff to really happen. When we moved in, I thought I'd be building a railroad in a year. Alas, it didn't work out that way. It's more like 4. But I never counted on pandemic and all that other stuff either. Anyway, enough of that depressing stuff. There it is. So for now, I'm just going to take that Ethernet cable and plug it in up here. And eventually, what I'm going to do is take this cable, cut it, and I should have enough. Yeah, I've got plenty of slack there. I should have enough to put 2 ends on this and connect it to that. I'm not going to do that right now because honestly, I don't feel like putting on those ends tonight. So I plugged in the wall wart for this thing, and you might be wondering why I'm not just connecting it to my 12-volt bus, and that's because this actually has a 15-volt input, and it does that because a lot of the LCC accessories depend on it. So it's going to have its own plug-in right down there. Time for a quick test. Going to plug it in, and I need the LCC terminator off this. Turn that around. There we go. LCC terminator in place. Let's turn on the accessory bus. Let's see what we get. So that's on. And then that should be it. Why isn't that working? Oh, there. Wow. Talk about your time delay. Go ahead and turn it off for a second here. And I want to see what happens when I power it back up again. So we hear the tortoises come into play. And there went the LCC system. Okay, so there was a little bit more of a delay there than I guess I expected. Interesting. This is a layout with a lot of operational opportunity, or it will have. And operational opportunity usually means lots of industries. So I'm making some more turnouts, and what I'm finding with the number 4s that I'm working on is that they need a thin area of grind right in here, and it's easy to get in the wrong spot with the file. So I'm going to use my my combination sander to get it done instead. Normally I use the Fast Tracks stockade tool to guide me in filing out the base of the rail where the points meet. But I'm actually finding that on these smaller turnouts, it's a little bit easier to use my combination sander that I bought at Harbor Freight Tools for about $100. This, by the way, doesn't come with the right kind of belt for filing out the rail. I can't remember the exact name of the belt right at the moment, but you'd find them at a hardware store, and it's basically for doing metal work. Only 36 degrees out in the garage tonight, so luckily my wife made this nice stocking cap for me. And the prescription safety glasses are good when you're working with the power tools. Anyway, I'm going to show you here in a minute what this looks like in the jig. Okay, so I'm going a little out of order. I haven't preformed the guardrails yet or installed the PC board ties, but it isn't getting any warmer out there in the garage tonight, so I wanted to do the part that I needed to do out there with you know, the steaming 36 degrees that it is. Point rails on number 4 turnouts can end up being pretty short, so I use one piece if I can, and then just rotate it around in the in the tool so that I end up with one piece that's the overall length of both sides, and I can cut it to what I need without having the whole piece being consumed by the tool while I'm trying to work on it. Okay, I've cut the points in half. I'm just going to put a little bit of flux on there. It's probably more than I actually need. And grab the soldering iron. And we'll wait till the flux sweats a little bit. Looks like it's doing that now. And there's the frog point. And then I've taken my file and filed off any rough bits on the other ends of the rail, so when I go to put rail joiners on there, they'll go smoothly. And I've taken a fine tip Sharpie and marked where I want the gaps for electrical in the PC ties. I've also filed off the ends of the ties to remove any burrs that are there. So I'm just taking the edge of the flat file and making the mark. I have done this with the Dremel tool as well. I find I get fine results either way, just whatever I feel like doing at the time. It's time to prepare and install the switch points. And what I'm getting is that when I look at the rail, it looks like if I cut a piece that's about 5 7/8 inch long, I should have just about the right amount of rail here. So I'm going to nip that bent end off and measure this out on my mat. By the way, if you don't have a cutting mat for your workspace, I recommend getting one. I've had this mat for, I don't know, probably like 8 or 9 years or something like that. And they really are good. They're kind of spendy, or they seem to be kind of spendy, through Joann's or Michael's or whatever. But if you get on their list, you can get one of their coupons, and that helps cut down that cost. You could probably find them on Amazon too, but you know, Anyway, let's see. I'll pause for a second and figure out if I got the right length here. I skipped ahead a little bit on the turnout build. And I've been toying with the layout of the turnouts up here. I've already glued down this quick stick over here, and I actually added another tie to that. I was considering cutting back the rail, and I thought, I have these extra ties, why don't I just throw one into there? And so anyway, let's see. So this switch, I'm going to try to position right in there, and so it'll have that right, turnout that'll lead down to that side, that stud end over there. I marked the quick stick for where I want to trim off the ties that are around the throw bar. They make these things with the ability to put a really long throw bar on there, and I'm not about that. So there's that. Then I'm also positioning it so I won't need to have any ties between there, and I've trimmed back the rail for that. And next I'm going to grab a couple of nickel silver rail joiners and throw them on there so I kind of feel out these two turnouts together. So we're gonna put these two turnouts together. I can't see the camera, so I'm hoping you guys can see this. And then neither of these turnouts have been gapped or had the wire connected to the point for power yet, but really need to get a solid idea where things are going to land. So Let's see. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay. I might go ahead and trim these turnouts back a little bit. Again, on the end here to bring them closer together, since this piece is going to be gone. And what that'll do is that'll allow the alignment on the stub on the right to be a little closer out to the edge. I held the throw bar in position and drilled the hole for the throw bar wire in that, and now I need to mark where the feeder wire for the point would go. And I think, judging by holding the other turnouts in place and the fact that I got them rail joined together, I think I can say that it's going to go over here. And it looks like I just need to mark it on here so I can remove this stuff and drill the hole. And then with the other one marked, you'll see that the throw bar hole would go here, and I'm sure you can't see the mark over here, but that's where the other hole would go for that feeder wire. And I can go ahead and do that. And then once I've done that, I could glue down the ties, so have that in place. Most of that quick stick is now glued down except for the part with the throw bar, because I'm going to trim those ends off of that, and so that it only has enough to cover the actual throw bar I have there. Using my Xeron sprue cutters for this one. Oh, actually, can't do that. Let's do that. Whee! There went the flying stuff. Missed my face though, so you know that part's good. And then put that one there. There goes the shrapnel. Okay. I can put that in there. Whoops. And put that in there. Lay the turnout back in place. So I screwed up. You see where the holes are there for the tortoise and the edge of the plywood, and then there's another sheet of plywood that's higher. Well, you see the upper line here is actually on the plywood that's higher. And the problem here is that I let this overlap when I was building it. I thought it was no big deal, but then, you know, of course, it is, because this tortoise now has to go through 2 layers of plywood in order to reach the turnout. I'm going to put a long throw bar on it, and I'm going to try that and see what happens. It stands to reason that if it works through People's 2-inch foam, it should work through my 2 layers of plywood. One extra long throw bar installed. Seems to be working just fine. Now let's take our lives in our hands and just push these cars. Cool. So 2 tortoises with extra long throw bars installed. And I've got 2 turnouts up there that look like they're gonna work just fine. That was after I discovered or I should say rediscovered I'd overlapped that plywood. I thought, oh boy, what have I gotten myself into? But that seems to have worked. And I've got more turnouts to build to complete the track in this area, but I think I'm going to end this video here and leave you guys with a short scene at the Washington State History Museum. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk again soon. Take care and have fun with your trains out there. This video is taken on my modules that are on display at the Washington State History Museum for the Train Festival that runs through January 2nd. These are two Genesis G50s, and I turned this volume way down on this clip as they're pulling my intermodal train over my modules there. Enjoy.